Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Inland Hills Live. If you don't know who I am, my name is Isaac, and I am the lead pastor here of Inland Hills Baptist Church. We're located in Anaheim, and we would always love the opportunity to connect with you, to pray for you, and to do what our church is really all about, which is leading people into a growing relationship with Jesus. And so I would encourage you to check out some of the other videos on our website that can tell you how to get plugged in, next steps that you can take. We would love to do that. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and jump right in to our part 3 of our series through the book of Jude, which we have called Faithful to the End. Well, no doubt right now during this time, during this week, we are now several days, a week and a half, almost teetering towards 2 weeks of some incredible events that have been playing out across our entire country. And, I don't know about you, but I can feel a little on like one side of the fence or the other. And so you might be one of those people that, you're wearing masks everywhere. Maybe you're one of those people that we've seen where they've got the face covering. You got gloves on, and you're not even doing the 6 foot distancing. You are doing like 12, 15 feet distancing. Or you might be the type of individual that, when you're walking around town, you're like, I'm over this, it's back to normal, let's get this thing going on, I'm ready to get back to work, I'm done with the mask, I'm done with the social distancing, I need people, I want to get back at it. And because on either side of the spectrum, you might be thinking one thing about someone else, and if you're on the other side of the spectrum, you might be thinking something completely different about a person across the fence. But here's what I know about you in either place, on either side of the gap that you're going to fall. Here's what I know about you, okay? You are trying to be responsible. You are trying to be responsible. You're trying to be safe. You're trying to be caring. You're trying to be loving. And I believe that whether you're wearing a mask, keeping a lot of distance, you're gloved up and all that stuff, you're just trying to be safe. You're trying to be responsible. And if you're walking around, with no face stuff, and you're getting back into it, you're just ready for things to get back to normal, you also are trying to be safe, you're trying to be responsible, because on either side of it, the things that you have read, the things that you've learned, the information that you've taken in, the inlets of information that you have been researching and looking at have all led you to believe that what you're doing and how you're practicing and what you're doing and what you're not doing is the most responsible thing for you to do. And yet at the same time, and I don't know if you get this sense from me, but I'm just not going to tell you, okay? You can take your own guess on what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, but regardless, if you are walking around and you are wearing a face mask and you're social distancing and you're not really coming over to people's houses and all that sort of stuff, don't you kind of feel like the people on the other side of you are like, oh, they're probably judging me, they're probably looking down at me, they probably think I just want everybody to die, I don't care about anything. But also on the other side, right, if you're not walking around with a face mask on and you're not social distancing and you're just like, man, I'm over it, let's get this thing back to normal, you probably feel also on the other side like people think I don't care about them, people just think I'm reckless, they think I'm like a vigilante, I'm just doing my own thing and I don't care about anybody. And yet at the same time, right, we believe, because of the information we've read, because of where we look, we are trying to be responsible. We're trying to be safe. We're trying to be helpful. We're not trying to be rebel rousers. We're not trying to be, hypocritical. We're not trying to be critical. We're not trying to be, cynic, and we're not trying to, get people mad at us for no reason. It's just we tend to fall on either side of the ditch. And you might be like, kind of like where I feel like, man, I don't know if I really fall on the social distancing side or the let's get it back to normal side. Like maybe you feel like you're just kind of in the middle and you're like, I kind of see both sides of it. And you probably feel and probably resonate a little bit more with what I'm saying in this moment, where when you go out and when you go to maybe a restaurant now or a coffee shop or a grocery store or maybe even a place of worship, you feel like you immediately are being forced on one side of the ditch or the other. And you're like, no, man, I see it from both sides. I see it from your side. This is just kind of where I fall. And we find, because of the media, because of the inlet and the outlets that we're looking at, all these things, we can tend to be trying to go out in public and yet feel like people have immediately forced us on one extreme side of the argument. And you and I can be asking a lot of questions during this time, like how do I have sane conversations? How is it that, I can, do what I do, but not really feel like I'm distancing myself from brothers or sisters or people that I care about? How can I not be lumped into this extreme category? But even maybe deeper than that, you and I are really asking and wanting to know, with all the stuff that we've seen in the news and on the media and stuff just unfolding in our country and across major cities across the U.S., it's not just how can I have sane conversation and how can I keep people close and let people know I love but still try to be safe. The bigger question is how in the world do we change the trajectory? How in the world is it that we, as we look and survey what's happening and the amazing stuff that's going on, where it's like, man, this is not getting better, this is actually getting worse. How is it that we can change the trajectory, change the direction, change the conversation so that we can curve from what seems like an all-out just obliteration of society and protected norms and all these things going on in our lives? Where's the turn? Where's the turnaround point? Where is this piece that we come together on and we kind of get back to, instead of attacking and confronting and destroying and rioting and all this stuff, where's the turn at within this? And what Jude actually talks about in this particular portion of Scripture is going to be such a help to us. And I just want to let you know, if you're not a follower of Jesus, you absolutely don't have to apply, you don't have to follow any of this, okay? This stuff is really just for us Christians. But I do believe that some of the stuff we're going to talk about, if we go and apply it to even your life, you're going to find that I believe you will be able to see, okay, here's how I can turn some stuff. Instead of always being in an argument, instead of always being in a confrontation, instead of always just being at like level 10 with the people that I know and love and care about because they're putting me on this side of the fence or on that side of the fence. I believe you'll really be able to apply some of this today and navigate with a little bit more peace than maybe you have reasonably or lately. And so what we're going to talk about today is just really understanding that you and I are invited to some virtues. And those virtues that we're going to talk about are going to be so important for us, and they are mercy, peace, and love. And the reason these three things are so important is because you and I, honestly, if we look not just at the media and not just at the news and stuff that's been going on, I really believe if you've been looking at your own life and some of the conversations you've had, some of the relational tensions you are presently in, you would have to admit that we are not great in this moment. We are not doing a great job of experiencing mercy and peace and love. And if you're a follower of Jesus, you might be wondering, why in the world am I not seeing more mercy and peace and love? And what Jude was really writing to these people about, and we need to understand this, because if we're not careful, we can look at our situation as totally unique, and no one ever as a Christ follower ever dealt with anything like this, which of course is completely not true. And while Jude is not in the exact same situation, and while the people he's writing to are not in the same exact situation, they are very much in a troublesome time. They're very much in a chaotic time. They're very much in a stressful time. And so Jude writes and appeals to these virtues, appeals to these things that we're going to look at today, but for two reasons. One, he had seen the effects more than likely of these virtues playing out and being exhibited and experienced in his own life. But he also knew, because of the situation he's writing into, which we'll really get into next week, he knew that there was going to be a tendency within them to respond with less mercy, to experience less peace, and to be able to demonstrate less love. And what Jude wanted in the midst of this trial and in the midst of this trying time was he wanted these things, as he says, if we'll look at the verse, to be experienced in abundance. He just didn't want these followers of Jesus to, be good or be moral. No, he wanted an overflow of mercy, of peace, and of love. And I'm willing to bet that in your life right now, something you could use more of, something that you would love to experience more of, something maybe even you would even say, I would love to see demonstrated from me in my life and also to me in my life, is more mercy, more peace, and more love. And the reason we struggle with this, and we've got to be honest about this, is because oftentimes we hold the offenses of others over others. We experience a lack of mercy and a lack of peace and a lack of love because the offenses of other people, we love to hold those offenses over other people. We love to look at the things that other people are doing or not doing, and instead of demonstrating mercy, we give tit for tat. We do what we see. We hold those things over them, and so there's an inability for me to see the hurt of another individual because I can't see past my own hurt. We lash out because we are hurt and we can't seem to look at their hurt. And odds are there are some things that are threatened right now in your life. There are pieces of your life that are becoming threatened, and you're experiencing a lack of security in those areas. And what oftentimes will happen, and I'm sure maybe even what has happened, is that you're unable to see past things that you're going to lose and things that you're fearful of being stripped away from you, and you are responding out of a response to your own pain and your own hurt with an inability, and it just stops us. It stops us from seeing the other side. It stops us from seeing the effects and the pain and the hurt of other people and what they're going through. Second of all, we're kind of bad at this because we have made our peace contingent on circumstances. We have made our peace contingent on circumstances. You know, for some of us, we have this view right now, and you may be in a job loss, you may be experiencing a health crisis, one of your family members may be dealing with COVID-19, and you may have lost a job, a lot of scenarios we could talk about, but right now, you may be just convinced, and now what's happened is a job or financial security has become this thing that if you obtain it, if you get it, if it comes back to you, you will experience peace. And what you've done, maybe unintentionally, is that you have latched your ability for peace on something outside of what's going on. For some of us, if the riots would stop, we would return to peace. It would give us peace. If the looting would stop, if the damaged property would stop, if police violence would stop, that would return peace to our heart. If people weren't killed senselessly, if disease wasn't rampant, then our peace would return, and we mistake that peace is somehow to be connected and contingent on our external circumstances. But then thirdly, another reason we are really suffering right now and being really terrible at this is because we focus more on list than we do on love. We focus more on list than we do on love. And we have all these things, right? If they did this, or if they did that, or if they just sit down, or if they just be quiet, or if they'd engage in this way, or they do that, if they would just this, that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if they would just do this, and then I could love, and then we could dialogue, and then we could have peace, and all these things. And instead of just simply offering love, we attach a lot of things that we need from people, that we have to have from people, that they need to perform within people to actually experience our love. And as we all know, that is not, as we talked about last week, that is not God's love. And so what if there was a way that you and I could not simply see the direction change, not simply get better at these relationships, not simply see ourselves managing this situation better or processing through this situation better, but what if, again, if we could really turn and affect true and real change in our communities and in our families, in our marriages, in our relationships, and really demonstrate for people the way forward. Because a lot of people are trying to navigate that, and it seems to be creating less mercy, less peace, and less love. In fact, I'm willing to bet, 5-1, that most of your conversations, and a lot of your conversations online and on social media, and maybe over the phone, and maybe at work, have had a lack of mercy, have had a lack of peace, and have had a lack of love. And yet Jude, as he writes to these people, he says, look, I want mercy and peace and love to be multiplied to you. As we think about this idea of mercy, I want you to look at the screen with me. It means this, okay? Mercy means It is the means by which God faithfully keeps his promises and maintains his covenant relationship with his chosen people despite their unworthiness and their unfaithfulness. You see, mercy is God's ability to keep his promises, his good things, his good offerings, his great offerings as our creator, as the perfect, righteous judge. It's his willingness and ability to keep those good things, to keep his promises to you and to me. And, maybe in America we might say we understand grace. We don't always embrace it as fully, because we like to earn. Grace, again, being that thing that we get something or something is given to us that we don't deserve. And we can kind of understand that. We get it. We know that we don't deserve it, but it's something good. And we always love the idea of us receiving something good from God. But mercy really requires you and I to address this fundamental idea about God and us. And that is that God is giving us something we don't deserve. He's offering something that we don't deserve. And in fact, right, offering this to people who are unworthy and unfaithful. And mercy does really take a bit of time for us to process through, because you and I don't like to think of ourselves as being unworthy of good things. Sure, we can get around the idea of receiving good things we don't deserve, but mercy really requires us to focus on the inadequacy or the undeserved component for you and for me as it relates to God. And God is very clear. You and I don't deserve a relationship with God. You and I don't deserve his grace. You and I don't deserve his love or his goodness or his faithfulness or his provision in our life. We simply do not deserve the things that he would give us. And yet God desires to show mercy, and he shows mercy. And Jude says, look, I want you, as you look around the situation right now, I want you to look and I want you to see the need for you to be full of mercy. Hey, these people that are throwing threats, these people that are denying your doctrine, the people that are attacking you, you need to look across the side of the argument. You need to look across the argument, and you need to understand that you are to offer good things, and you are to offer the best things, and you are to offer relationship and conversation and love and service to the person that does not deserve it. Again, seeing beyond our own hurts and seeing into the pain of other people. You see, mercy is concerned for man as he is miserable. Grace is concerned with man as he is separated. But mercy is concerned for man as he is miserable. And again, if we're only stopping at our pain, we will never see an overflow of mercy. We will never see the experience of mercy, not only in our life, but then through our life to those around us. We also not only see mercy, right? We also see that there is peace. Now, peace is defined as the state of affairs between God and man through Jesus. And this is so good for us to remember, because, again, the lack of peace oftentimes comes as we seem to think that our peace is contingent on things around us. Again, if I were to get a raise, I could experience peace. If I had money coming in, I'd experience peace. If I had that job back, I'd experience peace. If people would stop rioting and looting, I could have peace. And we begin to project this idea of inner tranquility being achieved by something on the outside of us. And yet, the Bible's clear that you and I obtain peace with God. You see, peace is not something that you and I need to or need to wait to experience when this situation gets better. It's not for you and I to look for certain outcomes before we experience peace. The looting and the burning and the destruction and the injustices in this world and sickness and pain and relational despair and poverty and all these problems, disease that we see in our world are not required to be left. They're not required to be gone. You see, peace is not about a life void of pain and void of troubles and void of angst and void of problems. You see, peace again is an inner lying experience that is achieved through Christ with God our Heavenly Father. peace, again, is not something that is contingent on our outward circumstances. It is something that is possessed and given and experienced in the most important place, and that is with our Creator. Peace fundamentally is a state of affairs between God and man through Jesus. That is why the message of Jesus is so important. It's not because your life will be better forever. It's because you now are in a state of mercy. You are in a state of grace. You are in a state of perfection. You are in a state of acceptance for this life and through all of eternity. And friend, I'm just going to be honest with you. There is no amount of money. There is no relational restoration here in this life. There is no amount of peace and tranquility and kumbayaness in the world that will give that to your soul. If you do not have this peace that God speaks of and the Word of God speaks of, you will never be able to find peace in all of these other areas. But not just peace, we also see that there is a need of love. He desires mercy to be extended and experienced and then distributed through these people. He desires the same for peace, but then also for love. Now love is defined as self-sacrificial acts for the benefit of another. I know, I'm sorry to ruin this for you, but love is not a feeling. When you see love in the Bible, it is not about someone feeling a certain way. It is always expressed as someone doing something. And most pointedly and profoundly is the love that God demonstrates towards unfaithful, imperfect, unrighteous, wicked people like me and others and you. And we see that God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. And God desires, Jude desired in these people, that they would not simply feel something, but they would then demonstrate their actions. They would demonstrate love by what they did for other people. Now, something you need to understand, this is so important to what we're talking about today, because love, love is the first and last word in Christian theology and ethics. And I don't have it here on the screen, but a great passage that Jesus really highlighted this reality was when He said, in response to a teacher, a scribe, a religious individual, asked Jesus, what's the most important commandment? And He said this, He says, look, the most important commandment, the first commandment, is to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And then He says, and the second's like unto it, that thou shalt love your neighbor as yourself. Again, love is the first and last word in Christian theology. And look, I get it. If you're not a follower of Jesus, you may have been let down on this idea. And the only thing I can really maybe say to that is simply understand that Christians are not the standard of Christianity. Jesus is the standard of Christianity. And one thing that Jesus was always about, always doing, always bringing, and always dishing out was love. And the first and last word in Christian theology and ethic is love. But love is not simply belief. Love is not just simply a feeling. No, love is an action. And so what I want to encourage you today, as we think about turning the corner, as we think about being individuals across America, across Southern California, that not just desire a change, but seek to be part, right? Seek to love in this way. Seek to not just feel a certain way, but have our actions, our theology, our belief about God help us change our society, help us change our culture, help us correct the conversation in a good, positive direction, opposite of what we're seeing now, is we need to understand that this love is a call to action. And right now is the time for Christians to just simply stop saying stuff, stop typing stuff, stop debating stuff, stop arguing online about stuff, stop posting memes, stop posting support, and put your hand and my hand to the plow. What am I saying? I'm saying, look, because love is an action, this is where I want to shift this. How can we really become people that are making meaningful contribution, meaningful change, being again once the church that flipped the world upside down? How can we be those kinds of people? Well, a couple thoughts here. First of all, don't try, seek to apply. Okay? Instead of trying to find peace, apply peace. Now I know what you're saying, Isaac, I don't know that I have peace. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Instead of trying to find love, apply love. Instead of trying to obtain peace, apply peace. Instead of trying to, get mercy, apply mercy. Listen, you have all these things. So many people are trying, to do Christianity. Stop trying to do Christianity. You can't do it. You need Jesus. I need Jesus to do it. But if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, you have the Spirit of God living inside of you, you are filled, you possess these things. You possess peace. You possess love. You possess mercy. So stop trying to do it and just apply it. Just let it flow out of you. What am I talking about? How can we do this practically speaking? Here's what I want you to do for the next week, okay? For the next week, 2 weeks. And just set a reminder or something. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 10 minutes every single day to ask Jesus for 3 things. Here they are. Take 10 minutes every single day and ask Jesus for these 3 things. First of all, ask Jesus every single day, God, Jesus, give me mercy in dealing with others. Give me mercy in dealing with others. The second thing we're going to pray is, God, Jesus, I need you to give me peace with others. I need you to give me peace with others. Just every day, wake up and ask. Spend 10 minutes a day saying, God, I need mercy when I deal with people today. Give me mercy today. God, I'm going to need peace today. And so give me peace with others today. And then lastly, God, give me a love for others today. Let me just give you a couple things, right, that you can say and ask Jesus as you're praying about these. As you pray about mercy, I want you to ask 3 questions as you think about where you might go and who you might serve. First of all, as it concerns mercy, we want to ask, what don't they deserve? Just go and ask it, because here's what I know about you and me, is that we already know what they don't deserve. But we need to say this question so we can think about what this person doesn't deserve. And then second of all, who doesn't deserve it? So what doesn't someone deserve? And then let's ask, who doesn't deserve it? And then the last question is going to help you and I put action to this. And that question is simply this: how can I give it to them? I know who doesn't deserve it. I know what they don't deserve. And now I'm going to go give it to them. Because that's what mercy is, right? It's me modeling God. It's me giving someone good things, my best things, the greatest things, even though they're unfaithful, even though they don't deserve it from me. As it concerns peace, I want to encourage you again, as we talked about, peace is not found in our circumstances. It's found from within. And so many times as Christ followers, we can get wrapped up in this mindset of, if I had this, then I'd have peace. Many of you might say, I struggle with finding peace in my life. I don't really know where to find peace. And so I want you to sift from this question of how can I find peace? And I want you to ask this question: where can I bring peace? You see, as a follower of Jesus, you have this tendency, like many do, to say, I'm looking for peace. I'm lacking peace in my life. Christian, you are not lacking peace. You are positionally in a position of peace. And our theology needs to inform our thinking. Our theology needs to inform our living. And so stop asking the question, how can I find peace during this time? Stop asking, will it be the riots or the violence or the justice where I'm going to get peace, where I could just feel at peace? No. Christian, you are in a position of peace. Your call and my call now is to not ask, how can I find peace? Our question now is to say, where can I bring peace? Who can I bring peace to? In what situation in my job can I bring peace to this? In what situation in my family can I bring peace? Because I'm not looking for peace. No. I live in peace. I am in a position of peace. Where can I go bring it? And then as it concerns love, let's ask this. Because again, right, love is not a feeling. Love is an action. Love is an action. Let's ask this question as you talk to Jesus every day for the next 2 weeks, 10 minutes. We're asking him, God, give me mercy in dealing with others. Give me peace with others. And God, give me love for others. Who will I love this week? Who will you love this week? And look, I know you're going to love your family. I know you're going to love your wife. I know you're going to love your spouse. I know you're going to love your kids. That's a given. Who outside of your family? Who outside of the family of faith? Who outside of your normal normal circle will you go and love this week? Because love is not a feeling. Love is a self-sacrificial action for the benefit of another person. And I'm telling you right now, the unchurched, the unsaved, people that don't know Jesus, they are looking at Christians and they are saying, what are you guys doing? And Christians, we have spent way too long talking about the love of Jesus. And now is time to demonstrate. Now it's the time to go and do and love like Jesus loved. I mean, think about it, right? Imagine a world where Christians engaged in conversations, engaged in actions that centered more around mercy, peace, and love. Can you imagine what our community would look like? Could you imagine what your church would look like? Can you imagine what your community would look like? Could you imagine what this country would look like if Christians centered their conversations, if they started the day asking God for these three things? God, give me mercy in dealing with people. Give me peace with people. Give me love for other people. And then we took those conversations from God and we had conversations with community leaders and community members and people across our country, and we said, look, how can we do this? How can we foster more mercy? How can we foster more peace? How can we foster more love in and through our lives? I believe this is what would happen. The reality is the conversations we need to have are difficult. They're challenging. They're tough. They're complex. They are not simple conversations to have. But I don't believe that us moving and having conversations with God and other people about peace and mercy and love would make the conversations any less difficult. I believe the conversations would still be hard, but they would be moving in a better direction. I believe they would be moving in a better direction. And so as we think about these virtues that Jude appeals to these men and women with, I just want to leave you with the thought here this morning. Maybe today you'd say, Isaac, I'm not a follower of Jesus, but what you're talking about today resonates with me. I can see a need of mercy in the conversation. I could see how people not giving others what they don't deserve could change the conversation in a better direction. I can see how we could use some more peace. And I can see how love being an action, not a feeling, makes a little bit more sense. But maybe you'd say, as we talk about this, the reality is that when it comes to peace, maybe you've been looking for peace at the end of all this. Maybe you've been looking for peace before this and some other things. Maybe your thought process was that peace is really on the other side of, once all the problems are solved. Maybe your idea of peace has been revealed to be ill-founded. And maybe today you heard me talk a little bit about peace being an inner possession instead of contingent on outer things. And maybe you're wondering how that might work. And so I'd love for you to just listen as I walk through this next slide with you. You see, God's design in the beginning was a design of peace. It was a design of perfect unity and fellowship with Him. I mean, nothing, no disease, no murder, no injustices. I mean, perfect. I mean, can you imagine, right? I mean, what does that even look like? And yet we see that sin moves into the picture through Adam and Eve, certainly, but I'm willing to bet you'd have to say, yeah, even in my own life, we gotta own it, right? I'm not perfect, and even if I am good in comparison to other people, when I think about a perfect, righteous, completely holy God, I don't even come close to measuring up. And we can see all around us, as we've talked about, really the whole idea of the application of this message is to change a conversation around a very broken picture in our culture, in our society across America right now. And that brokenness, so many people right now are looking for so many ways out of brokenness. We're looking for politics to get us out of this just madness. We're looking for money to get us out of this madness. People looking for education to get us out of this madness. People looking for laws and all these sorts of things that to deliver us. And I'm not saying there's not a good, relevant conversation to have around all of that. But what we need to understand is that the true cure for brokenness, the thing that allows you and I to even have the conversations from a place of mercy and peace and love, is by repenting and believing the gospel. People cannot demonstrate, cannot give, cannot move in a direction of things they don't have. And Jesus was God in the flesh. He lived a perfect life, died in your place, died in my place, and resurrected 3 days later, seen by 500 witnesses and then some, proving that he was God, proving his miracles were not, special magic tricks, proving that he was in fact capable of saving and forgiving and removing your sin and my sin. And what he asks us to do is to believe in Jesus. That's how we obtain peace. That's how peace is acquired on the inside. And friend, I would just encourage you today, as we see believing and repenting and believing the gospel allows us to recover and pursue God's original design from the inside out. Christianity is not about you and I becoming better people. It is about God coming in and making dead men alive. And today I would encourage you this morning to maybe vocalize a prayer of faith, of repentance and faith, and saying, God, I know that I'm a sinner. I see the brokenness in my life, and there is nothing I can do to rid this brokenness. And maybe you've tried some things, but today I am putting my faith, I'm repenting of my effort to be God. I'm repenting of my effort to be good enough. I'm repenting of my religious deeds, and today I am putting my faith in the death and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus. Friend, today I hope if you've prayed and placed your faith in Jesus, I hope that you would let us know. There's just a couple forms, a couple links that we're going to put in the comment section as we're hosting this right now. And those three things are a connection card. We'd love to send you some helpful information to lead you in a growing relationship with Jesus every month. We'd love to get your email address to stay in contact with you. But then there will also be a prayer request form. And friend, maybe you've heard this today and you're not really ready to make that decision, but you would like prayer about a relationship with God. You'd like prayer for something in your family. You'd like prayer for a point of brokenness in your life. And I would encourage you to fill that out today. But then the third thing we're going to put down in the comments today is our next steps card. And friend, look, I would just appeal to you, if you've made a decision today, we don't simply want to just say yay and rejoice with you, though we will. We want to give you some steps. We want to give you some practical tips, some practical advice on how to make the most of that relationship with God. You're in a brand new world, and we can't wait to kind of help you chart the path forward from here on out. And so I would encourage you to fill that out as well. I want to thank you for being with us here. Thanks for joining us again online. Again, if you jumped in late, we're going through the book of Jude. We're so glad that you're here. I would encourage you today to check us out online, join, follow, like our Facebook page. We'd love to connect with you. As always, if there is something I can be praying for or about and with you on, please drop it in the comments, fill out the prayer request form, or simply email me at isaac@inlandhillsoc.com, and we would love to connect with you. We hope that you have a great rest of your week. We have a great start to your week, and we look forward to seeing you either Wednesday in our community group, or we will see you next weekend right here, Facebook Live, Twitter, and online at our website, as well as on YouTube. And we'll see you right back here at 10 a.m. next Sunday. God bless, and have a great rest of your day.